Hi students, and welcome back to the second live IELTS class of today. I hope that all of you are having a good weekend. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. We are looking at IELTS speaking part 3 in this class, and we are continuing with the topic of groceries, shopping for food. If you were in the last class that just ended about 25 minutes ago, it was a part 2 cue card for a members chat class that was looking at the grocery store where you like going to buy your groceries. Welcome Fuang, Angel, Anahita, Domenico. Nice to see our members. Hi Constellation. Welcome Soulful Shorts, Preet, Rupinder. Good to see so many of you here with me in the class. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Again, these are the websites that power these live classes. We just used them in the last class to interact with students, and we will continue using them today to talk with our students, to give you tips and strategies to get those high band scores the next time you sit your IELTS exam. Students, the academic IELTS website, it looks like this with the blue background. This is at aehelp.com. You can join the premium version of the website by clicking the big red button right above my head. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Again, we are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. I'm a certified British Council agent. We're an official IELTS test registration center for your home-based exam. You can register for that through the website when you see the red registration button in your My Student account. For general IELTS students, we've got gieltshelp.com. We like to keep academic and general separate. They do have some differences, some important differences. Make sure you are aware of that. The most important difference is the purpose. So academic is usually for university, sometimes for work. General is mostly for immigration. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your IELTS path. Again, we have this code CREATE9. You can get a 10% discount on the websites. All you have to do when you click that Join Now button is click here to enter your coupon code CREATE9. Apply the coupon and you'll get that extra 10% kickback. So make sure to use it. Again, it's a one-time payment, and we want to help as many students as possible, so we keep our prices quite low indeed. Academic IELTS Help, that's the app that will link to the website. General IELTS Help will link to the General IELTS website. You can purchase the course through the app as well. You only need to buy the software in one place, and then you just link those accounts. You can get the course through Shopify YouTube as well. You can see the products in the shopping aspect of the stream and on the channel with a lot of the videos. Welcome Umra, our chat moderator. Nice to have you with us. If you have questions, you can ask Umra in the chat. As well, you can ask me through email, Adrian at aehelp.com, that's my name, or admin at aehelp.com. Instagram profiles are IELTS_AEhelp and GIELTS Help. We've got lots of followers on Instagram, over 100,000. That's great. And we've got live classes for you right now, speaking part 3 for everyone. Next week, starting on Wednesday, we'll have speaking part 1 to start the week. Then we'll have task 1 graphs. I don't know what yet. Maybe pie charts, maybe bar graphs, line graphs, maps are okay too, tables. Let me know. Send me an email. Say, hey, I'd like to see a class on tables, for example, and then that helps me to decide what I should show you. We'll have listening part 3 and part 4 for subscribers next week. That's finishing the listening exam that we started this week, also from the website, from the listening exam and audio materials. And then we'll have speaking part 2, speaking part 3. I will post these, or this schedule, I should say, on the YouTube community posts as well as on Instagram for you. And you can always check out new video releases in the meantime. We've got a really good one coming for you this week in the next couple of days, so definitely keep an eye out for that, especially for those of you who have some exams coming up fairly soon. All right, students, let's get into it. IELTS speaking part 3 here. You need to speak and repeat. So copy what I say, copy how I say it. I speak with a West Coast North American accent. Again, I'm from Canada. We don't really, like, some people think, oh, there's Canadian English, American English. Kind of. It's more regional. So people on the West Coast in Vancouver, Seattle, Los Angeles, we kind of speak very similar styles of English. And then there's East Coast English, there's Central American Canadian English, there's Southern US English, so that's more how you should think about that. But anyway, the Eastern and the Western dialects and accents of North American English are quite clear and easy to understand for people around the world. So speak and repeat. Copy what I say, copy how I say it, copy my intonation. You want to be loud, not yelling, but you want to be loud on the IELTS exam. So be loud and clear on the IELTS. Give it an extra 10%. So especially if you're the type of person who has kind of a soft style of speaking, or more of a kind of a monotone where you kind of speak flat, then definitely when you're in your IELTS exam, really just pay attention to speaking with a bit more energy. Go into your exam, speak loud, speak clearly. Some of these examiners are old. They have hard hearing anyway. So you want to be loud, okay? Speak loud. It means like being melodramatic. That's the word here. A little bit of melodrama can actually help to boost your scores. Okay, the number one tip, and we're going to practice lots today, is answer plus explain plus example. Okay, so that's the format that we want to follow here. So once you finish talking about your grocery store that you like going to for shopping, I talked about Walmart in the previous class. If you missed that, no problem. You can check that out on the YouTube channel. They're always up in the live videos section. Then the examiner will say, that is the end of part 2. We will now continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you questions related to your response and connected to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about shopping for food. Okay, so here's where you need to think about vocabulary: groceries, produce, vegetables, dairy products, meat, cereals, bread. Okay, so think about the different kinds of food. Think about discounts, coupons, your regular diet, your regular shopping habits. So keep those thoughts in mind that you had for part 2. They will help you in part 3. High bands, band 7, 8, 9. It sounds like a conversation, okay? There's literally a part of the training for the examiner where they have to ask themselves, does this sound like a high-level conversation with this candidate? If the answer is yes, you will get a good band score. If it doesn't sound like a conversation, if it just sounds like a disconnected kind of question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, then your score is a little bit lower. So keep that in mind. You need to really connect, okay? So make that connection between your answers and your ideas. That will boost your score, okay? That's my other tip as we get going here. So make connections among your ideas to boost your scores. The examiner is judging whether or not the interview feels like a coherent conversation rather than a question and answer session. Okay, conversation, higher score; question answer session, lower score. That's simple. Okay. All right, students. So let's jump in. Let's practice some answers for these first few questions. Put your answers in the chat. I really would like to see your written answers here. And then we'll move to verbal answers as we go along. Here's the first question. So the examiner says, let's talk about shopping for food. What are some of the most common types of foods that people purchase around the world? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay, so many people globally purchase foods like bread, rice, potatoes, vegetables, and meat to gain their daily intake of vitamins and calories so that they can be healthy and energetic. I know I always buy at least a couple loaves of bread when I go to, I think it's loaves, yes, of bread when I go to Walmart. Okay. All right, so that would be your band 9 answer. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, he's not really using like really high band vocabulary. You don't have to use very unique words in part 3 even to get a band 9. You just have to use appropriate vocabulary. That means it fits the context, like loaves of bread, okay? Or daily intake of vitamins. This type of vocabulary is enough to get you that band 9, all right? So again, listen and repeat. Many people globally purchase foods like bread, rice, potatoes, vegetables, and meat to gain their daily intake of vitamins and calories so that they can be healthy and energetic. I know I always buy at least a couple loaves of bread when I go to Walmart. Okay, and here the so signals the explanation. Okay, and of course, this is I know I always is how I signal my example. All right. Fuang. Good. Fuang says, some of the most popular kinds of foods that people buy globally are fruits, vegetables, milk, high sugar foods, or fast food. Those categories of nutrients are needed for daily consumption of humans on their daily basis to survive. Okay, let's make a couple more corrections here, Fuang. Those categories of nutrients are needed for daily consumption in order to survive. We don't need that other part, Fuang. We want to be concise. And then an example, Fuang. So, I buy a Big Mac meal each week because it's both delicious. Maybe I'm talking about myself here, Fuang. I don't buy a Big Mac meal every week, maybe once a month. It's not healthy because it's both delicious and high in calories, that's for sure. Right? So maybe not healthy, but lots of energy in that Big Mac meal for sure. Lots of salt too. Okay. Nipa says, there are some common foods people frequently buy from grocery stores, such as bread, eggs, milk, and fruit, because those foods are short-lived and people want these, don't forget your pronoun, in their everyday lives. So that's why I buy them once a week from Mr. Grocer. Okay, sure, Nipa, and I like how you had the ... to finish your example there. All right, good. I can see some similar kinds of answers from Alex and Farouk's and Fuad, and they look good. And then the way part 3 works is the examiner will ask you a follow-up question. So they'll ask something like this. Why do you think these kinds of foods are readily available? Okay, so now I kind of answered that in my first answer because people need vitamins and energy or calories. But here, if the examiner asks me this, I don't say, well, I just told you that, vitamins and energy, right? Duh. What you need to do is you need to expand, okay? So you can reflect. You can say, aside from the necessary nutrients, and try to paraphrase. So instead of vitamins, I say nutrients. So aside from the necessary nutrients and energy, so instead of calories, I'm going to say energy. Aside from the necessary nutrients and energy provided by these foods, they are also popular because they are relatively easy to produce and cheap. 10-pound bag of potatoes costs as low as $6 and can provide a person with energy for an entire week. Okay, so connecting to my previous answer and giving a little bit more detail. That's what the examiner is looking for. That's what will get you that higher band score. Okay, so again, repeat after me. Why do you think these kinds of foods are readily available? Let's use the question. These foods are popular for a couple of reasons. Aside from the necessary nutrients and energy provided by these foods, they are also common because they are relatively easy to produce and cheap. A 10-pound bag of potatoes costs as low as $6 and can provide a person with energy for an entire week. That's right, Ahmed. Readily available does equal popular. So readily available means that you can find them in many places often. So they're readily available. In this case, that means popular, yes. Or common would be another word to use for readily available, okay? Okay, so let's see who's got some answers for me. Jasmina says to mind, I'm not sure what that means. People are quite used to purchasing products like meat, potatoes, onions, rice, and you name it. You name it is an interesting expression, but it's awkward there, Jasmina. As we always need them as a source to help us feel full. Okay? All right. Okay. Shushma has this answer for us. I think it's because of customers' demand, as it is cheap in price, readily available, and easy to cultivate in any kind of weather. Besides this, it also increases calories and vitamins, which is necessary for sustenance, right? For survival. Okay. Shishma, that's good. Here, the question I would be asking is what kind of food are you thinking about when you think about easy to cultivate in any kind of weather? Like corn in India will grow in dry, hot, or wet weather. Okay, so give me a bit more on that one, Shishma. Let's make that clear. Okay. Now it's better. Okay. All right. Students, we're doing really great in the class and in this week, and I see lots of interaction. So without further ado, I am going to give you a chance to volunteer for speaking. Okay. I want to hear many of your voices and your English so that we can learn from each other. We can learn vocabulary from each other, grammar from each other, and very importantly, content. Okay, so not just how we're saying it, not just the vocabulary and the grammar, but also what we're actually saying to the examiner. That's a very important part of it. Take a look at the chat, everyone. Umra included the steps, and you can simply just click the link out of the chat to enter the website, aehelp.com. I also have it on the screen for you here. So that's the website, again, that we use in these live classes. This is what it looks like. And once again, just click the big red button that's right there to join the premium version of the course. It's definitely worth it. We are an IDP affiliate British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center, and we have been helping students around the world maybe longer than most. Here's a surprising fact for you. I don't know if many of you know this, but we actually had the very first IELTS video on YouTube. Fun fact for the day. I put that video up in 2011. It's no longer there. We've made it private just because it's so old school and it's so simple, and it looks like you're watching an old videotape now, but it was the very first IELTS video. So if anybody asks you, who was the first IELTS, or who did the first IELTS video on YouTube, that was us. It was an explanation of the different types of task 1 graphs and charts. There was a lot of confusion among candidates, and I was teaching IELTS at that time in a classroom. And that's when I realized a lot of people don't really understand what's going on with IELTS. So I wanted to help people. This was way before monetization was an idea in my head, or trying to get 1 million subscribers or anything like that. I just really want to help people, and so I was like, okay, let me help explain this task 1 a little bit clearly. So that was the first video ever for IELTS on YouTube. All right, and then lots more came. There's lots of people now. All right, anyway, back to the point here. So once you have access, and you can get all of our videos, not that one, but a lot of our newer videos on our website, then log into your My Student account, and there you will see computer-based practice exams, full online academic IELTS course. And you will also see this student partner speaking. By the way, if you see this red button, that means you can actually register for your home-based IELTS exam in your country through our website, through IDP. Click on the student partner speaking. Accept the terms. Basically, the agreement says that you are going to be polite, you will use this for IELTS, and you're responsible for your interaction and your words. And once you're in here, you will see a nice long list of viewers and students, starting with Mohammed here, and then Fuang, Vanshika Vlad, Fixing, Ronit, Andres, and you can send me a message by clicking the blue button next to my handle. My handle, as you'll see in the instructions, is Master, all capital letters, easy to see. Okay, so my handle is Master, all uppercase, like that. And then you can just click that blue envelope next to my name, and then send me a message. Okay, and then I can interact with you. I'm always looking for returning students, premium students. Premium students, really, I encourage you to interact with each other. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying that is because premium students tend to have access to all the content, all the strategies, and you're online on the website often, so you can connect with each other. Okay. All right, Constellation. We haven't heard from you in a while. Let's reach out to Constellation. Are you ready? And we'll jump into these part 3 questions, and you will get an idea of band scores, how that works, strategies and tips to do well. Constellation, spelt in a little bit of an interesting way. Here we go.
Hi, sir. Can you hear me?
I can, Constellation. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Good. We haven't heard from you in a while. It seems like you have been busy.
Yeah, I've been a bit busy.
What has been keeping you so tied up?
My job actually, and also my report of my internship.
Your job and an internship report. May I
Yeah.
ask, what is your internship report on?
Actually, I made a report of the company that I am working for. Yeah.
Okay. Is it done? Is it finished? Or are you like, oh, I'm done?
Yeah. Actually, I the result came through, so yeah, I got an A, and I was over the moon.
You got an A. Why am I not
Yeah.
surprised, Constellation? I'm happy, but I'm not surprised. You study hard. Okay, Constellation, are you ready for some part 3 questions?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So, IELTS speaking part 3. Let's talk about shopping for food. What are some of the most common types of foods that people purchase around the world?
I suppose citizens all over the world they often buy foods that they eat on a daily basis, such as rice, bread, or meat, because these types of foods provide them a great source of vitamins and protein that are really necessary for the bodies.
Can you give some examples?
Um, so, for example, people in Vietnam, we often go to the grocery shops to buy rice because we eat this as a main course. Yeah.
Why do you think these foods are readily available?
So without a shadow of a doubt, we must produce these types of foods because we need them to taking on nutrients that our bodies need. And also, I think that the earth provides such an ideal environment to mass produce them. So, yeah, I think that's why.
Okay, I'll stop there and give you some feedback. All right. So your band score, Constellation, for that would be about a 7.5 so far. Okay, which is not bad at all. That's between good and very good. You're giving me some good information. You're using some good vocabulary. There is one aspect that I'm not digging so much. Can you guess what that is?
I believe that it's about my content.
It is something about your content. Can you be more specific? What do you think it is? And you're right. I mean, it's always Constellation. It's always a good guess when you're getting over 7 that it's probably to do with content. If you look at the IELTS descriptions for the band scores, then when you get into the band 7, 8, 9, they all basically say makes few mistakes with grammar or vocabulary. So when you look at those band score descriptions, then it's usually focusing on the content of what you're saying for sure. So it's a good guess, but can you be more specific about what part of content am I not liking so much for these answers so far?
I think that my content is rather like general, and I didn't give any examples. Right?
Kind
Can
of.
you?
Kind of. I wonder if anybody else caught what it is in the chat. I'm just trying to see, but I don't think so. It's one of those situations it's hard to identify unless you're really familiar and you know it very well. It's the ending. Both of the answers that you gave me, the ending was lacking confidence and clarity. Okay, so you have to finish strong. Okay. This is an important tip for everybody. So when you're speaking, finish strong. You cannot finish by saying, yeah, and kind of like that, or okay, like that's it, and so on. And don't take this the wrong way. I'm not poking at you. This is a common mistake for candidates in the speaking where it's called drifting. You're basically drifting at the end of your answer. Don't drift, okay? Because that will lower your coherence score. So whatever you're saying, say it strong, say it with a strong finish, right? So if nothing else, there's two ways that you can finish strong. One is by reflecting the question again. So you can say, these are the common foods, or this is why people buy them, and then just stop, right? So you reiterate the question in another way in a strong voice, and then you finish, and then that's clear, right? So this is a tip for everybody. Do not drift at the end of your answers, okay?
I see.
Do you want to try one of these one more time and just give a strong finish so that everybody can kind of feel the difference? I'm going to ask you the first question again. And just say more or less the same answer that you gave me, reiterate the question at the end, or give an example and just finish strong. Here we go. What are some of the most common types of foods that people purchase around the world?
I suppose that citizens all over the world tend to buy food that they eat on a daily basis, such as rice, bread, or meat, because these types of food provide them with necessary nutrients. And for example, in Vietnam, people often go to grocery shops to buy rice. So yeah, I believe that these are the foods are
See
common.
how easy it is. See how easy it is. You're like, so I believe. No, just rice. So people in Vietnam, for instance, often go to grocery stores to buy rice. End. You don't have to keep talking.
Yeah,
Once you've said two
okay.
or three sentences and you have the word rice, just stop with rice. And okay, why are these foods so readily available? I'll go to my next question, right? So don't drift, all right? Really, when you're at home and you're practicing the speaking section, Constellation, just anytime you find yourself drifting, go back, start the answer again until you get to that strong finish, and I guarantee you'll go from that 7.5 up to an 8, even an 8.5 very, very quickly, okay?
Okay, I see.
All
I'm
right.
so off my pain because I have had this problem for a long time. I didn't know how to solve it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of practice. So you practice and you realize, okay, the end is coming. Try to see the end. So once you see the word rice in your brain, register, okay, that's the end. Once I say that, I'm done. So for instance, in Vietnam, people will often buy rice, done, and then wait for the question, okay?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, Constellation, thank you so much, and congratulations on your internship score. That's fantastic.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a good day. Goodbye, sir.
Bye, Constellation. Yeah, confidence is key in those higher band scores, not because of confidence itself, that's just a state of being, but because of the language that's produced by confidence, right? So confident communication equals coherent information. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Important tip, all right? So again, we're learning from each other, okay? Aaron, looks like somebody new. Are you ready? Let's reach out to Aaron. Lots of thumbs up and rabbits ears, all kinds. Tatiana got so excited with all the thumbs up, I think you accidentally got a thumbs down there. Tatiana, I'm pretty sure we all know that the thumbs down was an accident. And you're like, no, Adrian even talked about it before I made it disappear. Oh, it's fun. We need to have a bit of fun. When you're learning, it's a good idea. Aaron, if you're there, let me know. I've messaged you. I'm not sure if you're watching. Tatiana's like, how about that? I'll give you 7 thumbs up with a smiley face. Aaron says, I'm fixing my mic. All right, well, let me try to call you. Hopefully you'll have it fixed by the time I ping you here. Let's see. Maybe Aaron's quick with the technology. Okay. Aaron says, call someone else first. Call another first. All right, Aaron, we'll circle back to you. I'm just kind of going, oh, hey, looks, there's a familiar face we haven't seen in a while. Chayani. Are you ready? We haven't heard from Chayani in a long time. She's finished her IELTS, but uses the website to continuously expand and brush up on English, which is smart. That's, by the way, that's one of the other reasons we want to give you lifetime access to these websites, because we don't believe that the website loses its utility after you pass the IELTS. You can continue to use it to interact with me or with other students and share your stories. Absolutely.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Chayani. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing good. It's nice to hear from you.
Yeah, it's been a while. Not volunteer again.
It has. Well, I mean, you did finish your IELTS exam. You got the score that you needed. May I ask, Chayani, what are you doing now that you have your score? So what kind of steps are you taking?
So, like last month, I just so my main aim is like transferring for my 2 semester in one university in Australia. Mm-hmm. And it's a good news that I have accepted one institution in New South Wales.
Oh, you got acceptance. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And right now I'm still like preparing for documents for visa.
That is so exciting, Chayani.
Yes, butterfly in my stomach.
You got butterflies. That's good. It's good to have, but they're positive butterflies, right? So they're happy butterflies. So that's good. That's fantastic, Chayani. Well, definitely brush up on English, right? What happens to some IELTS candidates is they pass the IELTS, they get the scores, and then, they need to go to university, so they're doing their applications and they get the acceptance like you, but they're not using English because they're like, oh, I got what I need. And then they kind of stop using English. They get a little bit lazy. And then suddenly they're on a plane to Australia and they're like, uh-oh, I'm going to have to use English every day, all day. So it's good to avoid that situation, and you're being smart to keep up with your English because time flies, and suddenly you're in South Wales and somebody is at the airport going, "G'day, can I see your passport?" Some Australians gonna be like, yeah, somebody's gonna be like, that was horrible, Adrian. But anyway, and then you have to be like, yes, here it is, please take a look, right? So okay, Chayani, are you ready for some part 3 questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's talk about shopping for food, which you will do in Australia. All right, here we go. Do you think grocery stores will become more expensive or cheaper in the next 5 years?
I think that the groceries food will become more costly in the next 5 years because there are demands from the citizen that need it so bad that this kind of food that such as vegetable, meat, and also other fast food such as noodles and also noodles and also misoma. And there's a lot of the workers and all the laborers that needs to work on this field. So that's why the reason of the groceries foods become more expensive in the next 5 years.
How have grocery stores changed in the last 20 years?
That's a nice question anyway. I think in the past 2 decades, the groceries have a lot of change. Many of them still reserved in the traditional way, and many people tend to buy and purchase them directly. But right now, people tend to purchase it through online as it is fast and rapid, and there are lots of the discount. Many people in Indonesia right now still using the traditional market method and bought their groceries.
Do you think this will continue to change in the future?
I don't think that this method will continue to change in the future. As I mentioned before, the technology is developing. Many people tend to buy their groceries through online shop as it is very faster rather than go to the supermarket directly.
All right. So let's stop there. I'm going to give you some feedback. All right, Chinese. So I would score you for those questions at about a band 6.5, which is between good and very good. And it's smart of you to brush up on your English because I do hear a little bit of slipping. I'm very honest with everybody in these live classes. So I do feel that your grammar is slipping a little bit just because you're not maybe practicing your English as much these days. Like for instance, you made this mistake of very faster, and as you know in English that's quite awkward. It's either very fast or faster, but you never combine the two. You never say very faster. It's like immediately the person's like, huh? Right? So that would be classed as a typical less than band 7 mistake. So when examiners hear that, they're like, it's hard to say that's good English, because in good English we don't want to hear that kind of a mistake, right? So that's one aspect. The other aspect that is missing and that can help you here, again, so bit of language here. When you're at the 6 to 7 range, you're looking at both the grammatical language mistakes and you're looking at the content mistakes. As soon as you start going above 7, especially 7.5, then you're looking much more at the content mistakes. Okay, so here the content mistake in the first question, I asked you, do you think grocery stores will become more expensive or cheaper in the next 5 years? You did a good job to use the question. You said, I think that groceries food, which is kind of weird. So groceries or grocery store food. Groceries food is a bit weird here. So I think groceries will become more expensive in the next 5 years. Chayani, just a quick question. What's another way to say 5 years, if you want to paraphrase that?
Oh, 5 years?
Yeah, how can we say that in a different way? Half?
In the next half half a decade.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, just some vocabulary, right? So in the next half decade, that's really nice. When you can paraphrase years in different ways, that usually signals a better lexical resource. So in the next half decade, sure. And then you said, I think the demand has made it so bad. It's a bit awkward. So the demand has really increased prices, has really made prices skyrocket. Okay, can you repeat after me? I think the increasing demand over the next 5 decades will really make prices skyrocket.
I think the demands in the next 5 decades has really made prices skyrocket.
Let's try that one more time. I think that the demand in the next half decade will really make prices skyrocket.
I think the demand in the next half decade has really made prices skyrocket.
Will really make prices skyrocket.
Will really make prices skyrocket.
Foods will be 100 to 200% more expensive.
Foods will be 100% more expensive.
A banana today costs 10 rupees. In 5 years, it will be 20.
Banana today will cost 2 rupees, and in the next 5 years will be because higher.
4 rupees, 100%, right? 4 rupees, all right? Simple math. All right, so adding those numbers, right? I mean, we're talking about prices, so it makes a lot of sense here for the answer to include some kind of number or figure, like a percentage increase, right? So don't forget, when you're dealing with a question that clearly identifies quantities, right, like prices or cost, then in your brain you should immediately be thinking, okay, I should include some kind of a number here to represent my explanation or my answer. Okay,
at the end.
all right, Chayani, Practice, practice, because the next thing you know, you're waking up and you're pulling your suitcase to the airport and you're speaking to those Aussies. Okay.
Okay, Adrian, I note down that.
All right. Okay. Good luck with the rest of your application and with the preparations, Chani. Thank you for coming and come back again.
Thank you, Adrian. See you next time.
Bye, Chani. All right, that was Chani. Let's give her a thumbs up. She is on the next step of her journey. Everybody, you notice this pink kind of notification that I got here? It says for me, WebSocket closed. Please try reloading the page later. When you get that, what you need to do is just do a shift refresh on the page. The reason for that is there's a lot of us hitting the servers. So sometimes if our connection is not 100% stable, we'll lose that connection. Really easy to fix. All that you have to do is you just hit shift refresh and then you'll be reconnected to this chat server. Okay. It's sometimes a good idea to do that anyway, just so you get a stronger connection. All right. And then you can send me a message. Okay. All right. Dewey, probably in Paris, I'm guessing. Dewey, are you ready? I'm starting to realize Dewey usually joins us on Saturdays. Okay, Dewey, if you're there, let me know.
Hi, Adrian. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How are you doing, Dewey?
I'm doing very well, but I'm not in Paris today.
So I guessed wrong, right? That's why, assumption. Where are you?
I'm in Switzerland at the moment.
Switzerland.
Yeah, I'm on vacation.
You're on vacation.
Well, not really vacation, but still, I have some free time to join you. That's my vacation.
Okay, so is it kind of like a workcation? You're doing a mix of work and vacation?
I'm working as a tour guide, actually.
As a tour guide. Okay, you're always surprising me, Dewey. And are you doing the tour guiding mostly for Vietnamese or for just anybody?
I mean, one of my relatives, she comes here with four of her friends, so there are 5 in total, and they hire me as their tour guide to guide you through France and Switzerland and Italy as well.
Cool. So obviously you're using a lot of English doing that, right?
A little bit. I mean, mostly in Switzerland. In France, we mostly speak French. So, but yeah, I can speak English in Switzerland for almost 3 days now.
Okay, great. And you decided, hey, why not top it off with a little bit of live class interaction, right? Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, Dewey. Well, let me ask you some part 3 questions. That's great. And we'll go from there. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, then let's talk about shopping for food. How have grocery stores changed in the last 20 years?
For the last 2 decades, people have become much more conscious about their health and the environment. So grocery stores have therefore put more their focus on selling and promoting both healthy and eco-friendly foods, in particular local products, in order to cut the food miles. The consumption of high fiber foods such as wholemeal bread or vegetables in general have been exponentially increased. People eat these kinds of food at least twice as much as in 20 years ago.
Many people are concerned about the increasing amount of genetically modified foods in stores. Why is this?
I think the most common reason is that people care about their health because they don't trust this kind of technology. And I think they are right. And this technology is still quite new, and there haven't been many experiments, reliable experiments on these foods. So I think that's why people are still conscious and maybe a little bit distant of this food.
Okay, I'm going to stop there and give you some feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, first answer, I would say band 9. Second answer, I would say band 7.5. So let's take the happy middle for overall. I would give you like an 8 to 8.5, okay? Obviously some very good English, quite accurate in terms of grammar. Vocabulary is there also. Your first answer, exceptionally coherent. Okay, very clear for the question. The second one, somewhat coherent, right? That's why I'm dropping that 1.5 band, because I'm kind of like, okay, I would have a good number of questions to ask you if we're in a coffee shop talking about this question, and I don't have enough clarity with that. So that's basically, the critique. I do want to focus on the positive parts of what you just did and said. First of all, notice everybody that Dewey picked up on the paraphrasing of the years, and immediately, instead of half a decade, 20 years here, you very quickly said 2 decades, right? In the last 2 decades. Very common, very quick paraphrasing there. Very good. The other aspect of your response to this question, how have grocery stores changed in the last 20 years, was the use of the same grammar. So this question, of course, is in present perfect. How have grocery stores changed? And whether you did that consciously or subconsciously, you reflected that. They have become much more conscious, right? And then you actually used it again, have become much more focused on, right? So you use the present perfect multiple times. For everybody watching, the examiner is really paying attention to that. So are you showing grammatical range and accuracy with that range? Are you showing the present perfect? Okay. There's a much easier way to do it than the way Dewey did it. Dewey, what's the easier way? What would be the easiest way to show the examiner that you can use the present perfect? How have grocery stores changed in the last 20 years? What's the easiest way to show present perfect?
I mean, they have changed a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have changed a lot. Yeah. So for those of you who are like, panic situation, don't, right? It's just make it simple, right? It's more important that you show the grammar. So they have changed a lot. In the last 2 decades, people have become much more conscious. So just doing that is enough, okay? And then it's really emphasizing your present perfect and guaranteeing that better score. One interesting trick that you did here, Dewey, this is another kind of interesting piece to analyzing your speech, is you reverse the answer and the explanation. I don't know if you did that on purpose or it was just the way that it came out, but you did that. So first you gave me the explanation and then you gave me the answer. So you said, in the last 2 decades, people have become much more conscious on their health and the environment. That's the explanation for why the grocery stores have been changing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just came out of my head, and so I just speak it as it is.
As it came to your mind, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Now, it's a good strategy. And it does get you points. It is a more complex form of communication and language. It is trickier, however. So for anybody practicing this at home, my recommendation is always practice the system of answer, explain, then example. So here I would say grocery stores have become much more focused on healthy foods with less packaging because people have become more conscious about their health and saving the environment. That's the easier path for this answer, right? So answer, explanation, example. However, when you're at that band 8, band 9 level and you feel confident giving answers in this way, then definitely try to play with the order of answer, explanation, example with different connectives, because it does make for a more dynamic type of communication. Okay, so it's a good skill. It's just trickier, so be careful with that. It's important to identify that. Okay. Yeah. Dewey, we're having so much fun analyzing your speech, or I am anyways. You know, my degree is in psychology. This is what I do. This is what I love. So I'm going to give just a bit more analysis on the next question here. Many people are concerned about the increasing amount of genetically... Oh, even my camera is kind of... Yeah, I'll bring my camera back here. So this question, it says, many people are concerned about the increasing amount of genetically modified foods in stores. Here you said, I think the most common reason is that people care about their health. Now,
I think now I see it's a little bit confusing.
No, at this point, I think you're okay. What I was kind of, I was like, I wonder why he didn't do that. you could have easily connected that to your previous answer. So I would have started your answer like this if I were you, in relation to what I was just saying. This is a very fitting expression to start this response in relation to what I was just saying about the changes in stores. Right? Because it's very related. It's very strongly connected to what you just said in your previous answer, right? So in relation to what I was just saying about the changes in stores, I think most common reason is that people care about their health and they don't trust this kind of technology. They feel that genetically modified or GMO foods are low in nutritional value. Okay? They feel that GMO foods lack nutritional value. Okay. And then to finish this strong, you can even finish with a personal example. I think we all have it. When you have the chance, do you avoid buying genetically modified foods?
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely, right? What would be a typical case of you avoiding GMO foods?
Well, I mean, nowadays we have plenty of choices and options when it comes to food, and I would always go for the healthy and eco-friendly food in order to stay healthy.
Here's a question. When you, for example, buy like a 10-kilo bag of rice, do you check to see if it says GMO or non-GMO on it?
No, not really.
I was wondering that. I was wondering what your answer would be for that, right? I know I do. So I'm kind of going from my own perspective here, but I definitely do, especially for those staple foods, like where I buy a big bag of rice. I do try to see if it has that non-GMO label on it. So whenever I buy a big bag of rice, I check to make sure.
Yeah, when it comes to rice, because when it comes to rice, I always buy rice come from Vietnam, and I don't think in Vietnam we don't have genetically modified rice yet. So
are you sure about that, Dewey? I don't know. I'd check into that fact if I were you, but maybe you're right. All right, Dewey. Anyway, regardless, the key points here, right, is have the same level of consistency. Connect your answers when the connection is so obvious. All right, and then just finish with that strong personal example. It'll add a lot of clarity. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for your feedback.
Okay, and I'm sure that your family and friends are having an awesome time with you being their tour guide. So you guys continue to have a blast, okay?
Yeah, I mean, this is our last day in Switzerland, so it's kind of sad because Switzerland is a very beautiful country, and it's kind of sad leaving this country. But
it is. Yeah, I've been to Switzerland once, so I know what you're talking about. Well, enjoy that last day. Bye for now, Dewey.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Adrian.
You're welcome. All right, that was Dewey. Thumbs up there. Okay. Aditya says, or they don't tell us that it's GMO. Right, exactly. It sometimes depends on what are the rules and regulations about that. Okay, Julia. Let's switch it up a little bit. Are you ready? Lots of thumbs up for Dewey. Yeah, great job, Dewey. Always an adventure talking with Dewey. He's always up to some exciting new activity. Julia says, no, I'm afraid. Would you like to try, Julia? I'm not sure if that's a yes or a no. Would you like to try? It's okay to be afraid, Julia. So if you would like to try, one way to overcome fear is to face your fears. Would you like to try? Okay, yes. All right, I'll take that. All right. Hi, Julia.
Hi, sir.
How are you? You're feeling nervous. That's okay. I'm a human, just like you. I'm not AI yet, so don't worry too much.
Oh, just give me a minute because I'm also on a YouTube stream.
Yeah, just mute. All you need to do is just mute YouTube. So just click the mute button, the little speaker button, because you want to see the questions. Okay. All right, Julia, is this your first time volunteering?
Yes.
It is. I thought it for some strange reason I thought it was maybe your second time, or we talked before.
No, I just registered it yesterday, by the way.
Good for you. All right, good for you. Julia, where are you?
Well, currently I'm calling you from Hungary. So, and I'm in Budapest right now.
Cool. I'm ethnically Hungarian also. I speak fluent Hungarian
Yeah,
also.
I just wanted to ask you about this because your full name is Adrian Benedek, yes?
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
ethnically
and that's
Hungarian.
why I was surprised about it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I do speak Hungarian, but I'm not going to right now because I don't want to confuse our viewers. Hungarian's a very
I see.
different language, and they're going to be like, "What? What's going on?"
Yeah,
All right,
it's a bit
yeah. So
so.
your name in Hungarian would be Julia, right? Which was actually my grandmother's
That's
name.
right,
Yeah,
Julia Spolaric.
yeah. Which was my grandmother's name was Julia.
Oh,
Um,
glad to hear it.
all right. So, quick question: why are you taking IELTS?
It's a simple reason because of the working. So I'd like to apply for a visa to the UK so I could work there as a clinical pharmacist in my next future.
Cool. All right. All right. Well, we'll help you with that. Just make sure you
Thank you.
check to see which version of IELTS you need, the academic or general. With work, it's sometimes confusing. You have to really look.
Yeah, I already connected with one recruiter from there, and he told me that I need to apply for the academic one because I also need to apply to give an application to become a member of the pharmacist council one,
Hmm.
and the main requirement is like the academic IELTS, and it needs to be at least band 7 from each part.
Yeah, that's usually the medical standard. So for
Yeah.
nurses, pharmacists, doctors, it's actually higher usually. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a 7. There's a simple reason for that. Band 7 is called a good user of English. So it's not enough to just be fluent. You actually have to
Mm-hmm.
be able to speak well so that people understand you and you understand them. Of course, it could be a bad situation to give the wrong prescription because they didn't understand each other, right? It's like, oops, sorry. I gave you
Yep.
painkillers instead of sleeping pills. All right. Well, let's try a couple of these questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about shopping for food. Many people are concerned about the increasing amount of genetically modified foods in stores. Why is this?
Uh, because the time the technologies are also improving, and the GMO is also one of the newest technologies in the biology field. And yes, I can understand the fears of the majority, but also I can explain that it's not the worst. Uh, Technology solution because this technology way is was improved just to uh, increase the amount of the products such as vegetables or fruits. So
Some
one of the
people some people feel that grocery stores should be responsible for offering healthy food to the public. Do you agree with this? And how can grocery stores do this?
Uh, I agree with this, and the main reason why I think like this is that they need to be in the um, they need to be responsible about the consequences if the products that they are selling are not healthy or even harmful for the customers. And the groceries can avoid such problems like, for example, to have a trial group to just discover is this products are healthy or not.
Okay. Good. Um, quick feedback. That was good. Okay, so I do think you can get a band 7 for sure in your speaking. I would judge you at about a band 7 to 7.5. So you're right at that cutoff. Now, when you need a 7, of course, Julia, you want to reach higher. So you want to go for a 7.58. So that if you get one of these really strict examiners, then you'll get at least a 7. Your second answer was much better than your first. Do you know why?
I think that because of the content.
Yes, what was the biggest difference between the content of the second answer versus the first answer?
I think I answered for the second questions much proper than for the first one because my first answer, I think it was not referred mostly for the shopping or for the customers' desires, but mostly for the technology.
Exactly. Your second answer was just simply much more accurate to the question. Your first answer drifted off topic and you started to give your own opinion or your own perspectives
Yeah.
about genetically modified foods. And you kind of got away from actually answering the question itself of why the customer fears genetically modified foods. So, the most important tip that I can give you right now, Julia, is be concise with your answers. So don't speak too long because the examiner will interrupt you. So I wasn't interrupting you because I wanted to be rude. I was interrupting you because that's exactly what the examiner does. So the examiner will interrupt you if they feel like you're just talking and drifting. Okay, off topic. All right.
Okay, got
So
it.
that will happen. So be careful with that. And I know, because I have that Hungarian background, I know that Hungarians do like to give very long-winded explanations. Okay. In English, it tends to be shorter, more concise, more focused. So you want to use more kind of focused answers. And the second question, I think you might have realized that because you did do that. You gave a much more
Yes.
focused answer. So that was really good. And then you used some really good language, like having a trial group. That was a really good concept that you included there. So focus on that concise, accurate answer, explain, example, wait for the next question. Don't give your own opinion. Don't go off topic. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
You're doing really well. Keep coming back. Okay. I want to help you make sure you get that job in
Sure,
the
I will
UK.
back.
Okay. All right, Julia. Have a
Thank
great rest of
you.
your day. Bye for now.
Have a nice day. Bye.
All right. That's where, yeah. So cultures vary, right? Different cultures speak differently and express ideas differently. Hungarian, as I was telling Julia, tends to really go into very deep explanations and often go off topic and then come back to topic. Some European languages and cultures do that. The English culture, especially the Western English culture like Canada and the US, much more concise, much more to the point, right? This is the answer. This is the idea. Let's get it done. Let's go to the next one. Which is better? Doesn't matter. It's arguable, right? Some cultures are even shorter than English. Like in Japan, that's my third language, Japanese. Japanese language and thinking is highly efficient. Very, very short answers, very quick and to the point. So for students in Japan, often my advice is the opposite. It's you have to give a little bit more detail. In English, it's a little bit more detailed, a little bit more robust than the typical answers that we often hear in Japanese. So you have to kind of feel that difference. And it's good to ask, in my culture, do we give longer answers or go off topic more? Or do we give very short answers? So where's that balance? What's the English version of this? Okay. All right. Let's try somebody else. Let's jump to the bottom here. Let's see if Lee is available. Lee, are you there? Yes, it's the cultural differences. Cultural differences do impact our communication. Okay. That's right, Juan. I was living in Hungary. Remember when I was doing the live classes from Budapest? Absolutely. All right, Lee, great. I've lived in a few countries around the world, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. All right. Lee,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I am doing fantastic. I'm loving your energy. Lee, can you just tell everybody where you are in the world?
Um, First of all, I would like to address that I need to be very quiet because it's like almost midnight here in Vietnam. and my parents will get very annoyed if I make too much noise.
You just have to tell them, but I'm learning English across the world, and then they might smile.
Yeah, okay, maybe I'll try to.
Right. Okay, Lee. Well, don't wake them up. I don't want to be the cause of that. So let's jump into some questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure I am.
Okay,
Fire
let's
up.
let's talk about shopping for food. Do you think that grocery stores will become more expensive or cheaper in the next 5 years?
Um, in my point of view, grocery stores has had a downward trend in the overall price of domestic goods in recent years, and I strongly believe that in the near future the price will be much lower and more affordable. Hence, it enables all people of all classes and of all salary ranges to be able to purchase all sorts of items. And as although there are some and still some drawbacks that doesn't allow this to happen very soon, I still believe that this will take take place in the near future.
Many people are concerned about the increasing amount of genetically modified foods in stores. Why is this?
Um, in my point of view, genetically modified fruits and vegetables in general have some aspect which are can have a hazard on people's health, namely the fact that they are made to be sold at high prices and not very helpful. Other than that, I believe that genetically modified food in Asia and Africa uh, mm, often have some substances in them which can confer many kinds of diseases, which are very common here in this part of the world. Therefore, many people are worried about this development among markets, and in my opinion, this problem should be solved immediately. Otherwise, consequences will come.
Okay, let's stop there with those two questions. I think you're doing a great job. First of all, you're being nice and fluent. So I think you're at about a band 7. Okay, 657 is the range, 657. Um, of course, I would listen to your whole interview, part 1, part 2, before I made my final decision, all of part 3. But for these two questions, it's about a 657. Watch redundancy. So if you say, in my point of view, for one answer, try not to repeat it for the next answer. The
Oh, yeah.
examiners really don't like that. If they hear a lot of that kind of redundancy, like in my point of view, even though it might be a part of our diction, we want to avoid that because it does eventually decrease the scores. You made a couple of mistakes with the has have for the present perfect based on the noun or the plural. So just be really careful when you need to use has and when you need to use have. So like here you said GMO foods in general has, and you should have said have some aspects. So some clarity with that present perfect plurals and possessives. Okay. The overall grammar and the overall accuracy was quite good though, so don't stress too much, just pay attention to those points. Let me just see here. Now your answer was interesting. Okay, so most people would answer that grocery stores are becoming more expensive, right? But you actually went the opposite and you said, I think they're becoming cheaper, right? And you said, in my point of view, grocery stores have had a downward trend. I love that, have had a downward trend in price in recent years. Okay, you know what? Fine. I'm an examiner. I'm not an economist. I'm not here to judge
Yeah.
whether or not it's true or false. Okay. It's arguable that the buying power of people has increased. So even though it seems that the food has become more expensive, people are actually making more money. So compared to inflation, we could argue that some foods have become cheaper over the past couple generations. I can actually see that argument. So I'm not going to say, no, you're wrong, I'm going to give you a bad band score. No. it's fine. The argument is there. Just make sure it's clear, right? So here you could say, in my point of view, grocery stores have had a downward trend in price in recent years when compared, I would say this, when compared to the buying power of the average citizen. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's, I believe, where you're going with this. And I strongly believe that in the future, the price will be much lower and it will allow people of all classes to purchase all sorts of items. Okay. Now, just one last tip, Lee, don't go overboard. So once you've given an answer and you feel satisfied, stop, because otherwise the examiner will interrupt you. I was a bit patient and I didn't interrupt you. A lot of examiners aren't that patient. So once you're kind of saying the same idea again, or you're going into too many details, they just kind of throw the next question at you. So be really careful about that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Lee, really good. Did your parents wake up?
Nah, they're still listening.
Okay.
They're still soundly sleeping.
Sound asleep. That's the way we want it to be. All right, Lee.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I really liked how you gave that different approach of giving the opposite of the expected answer. That's okay. You just have to be really careful to make sure it's not confusing. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you for your time, sir.
You're very welcome. Have a great rest of your day, Lee.
You too.
Okay. All right. That was Lee. Yeah. So a really good tip there, everybody, is that your answer has to be believable. It doesn't have to be the absolute truth or the mainstream. Okay. Just make sure that you can clearly explain it. All right, everybody. So I'm going to stop there. We've had so many fun interactions today. There are tons of you in here. Fuang, I'm so sorry we didn't get a chance today to interact. I'm going to go chop some firewood for the winter, as our temperature here is starting to decrease and the rainy season's coming. So I got to go get some wood while it's still dry. But you should continue to converse with each other, and you should go to our website, aehelp.com, and sign up for the premium version of our course. It's absolutely worth it, and you will receive a lot of material and content to help you improve. Click that big red button that's right above my head there. Join the premium package and begin learning for success. Also, it has all the materials for these live classes, the exams, the videos, so you'll be much more prepared, and these live classes will be a lot more efficient and effective. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you so much, Julia. Whoever's calling, Gaganjot, thank you so much. Make sure to come back next week and volunteer, okay? Thank you, members. Thank you, Amra, for volunteering today and for moderating the chat. Next week, I'm coming back with many classes. I'll be posting those classes on the YouTube channel as well as on Instagram. So check out the schedule and mark it in your calendar. aehelp.com, everybody, for the academic version. gieltshelp.com for the general version. And yeah, begin learning step by step. There are study plans there for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming classes. Much love to all of you wherever you are in the world today. Stay positive, stay happy. I'm Adrian, signing out from Victoria for now. Bye, everybody.